Assalamu alaikum. In this video, we learn about how to create a basic application, CRUD application using PHP and HTML forms. So let's start. I'll try my best to keep it simple as much as possible to understand for beginners. So I'm creating a app by the name of PHP CRUD. Now I'm opening it in my favorite editor, PHP Storm. So we'll cover the basic application, basic operations like insert, update, read and delete. So first of all we'll use insert data into database, and for that we'll create a file with the name of user.php and hit enter. So after that we need a basic form. For that we need help, take help from W3 School to get a basic bootstrap form. Bootstrap form. Why bootstrap? Because it's a basic settings in it. So for the sake of time saving we'll use this. So we'll change the name, or you can say title, PHP CRUD, and for here add users, add users. So we'll take out the extra part from here we don't need. So we will take email, username, first name and last name. We will take these four fields for our this basic application. Username, and we enter here username, as well as the name of the field. Username here, first name, php name, copy and paste here, and here first name, and here last name, last name, and here last name. And we'll make this primary to make it a little good in look. So let's run our project and check how our forms look like. Localhost 8000. So this is our basic form we have created so far, uh, with email, username, first name and last name. These four fields will save in database. So after that we have to create a database connection. For that we'll first create database. For that we have to go to your PHP admin. So here I am creating database with name PHP CRUD and save it. After that, okay, after that I will use table users and create that, and we'll create an ID, auto increment and primary key, and then email, username, first name without dash, and one more last name without dash, and voucher will set it to 100, voucher set it to 100, voucher set it to 100. If you don't have any server installed on your local machine, you can check the video in the playlist to install WAMP on your Windows 10 machine. Now click on save. So we have done with our database and the table we required to save data. After that, we will create a file to connect to for the connection with the PHP to MySQL, and we'll name it connect.php. Refactor it and rename it .php. Refactor. To delete and create it again. File connect.php. So inside connect will uh, create a connection of our database with in PHP. So for that, you have to create a variable with the name of connect or connection, anything. I'm creating with the name of con, and then we use the function PHP MySQL, and then first is the host name. My host is localhost, and the second one is the password. My password in my case, sorry, the second one is the username. In my case, it's the root, and the third one is password. In my case, is password, and many of you are guys case. You guys case you don't have maybe password and you have to leave it empty. And in my case, we have created a database with the name of PHP CRUD and save it. After that, just need to put a condition to check where either our connection is made or not, and con inside that if connection is not made, we'll put a die here, and the error MySQL error. Inside that, put the con, and if the connection is made, we'll put the else here and show die with connected, just to show you guys how it's working. And we'll add this in on top of our user page where we use this connection. So for that, include and connect.php. Let's try to run again. So we have an issue here in line number 6 in connect php. So we have here missed the bracket. Let's try to refresh it again. Unexpected construct. Let me check it. So I have missed here in my credentials. Let's try again. So it's connected. So after that, we'll just remove the die from here. We use for just the testing purpose, and let's move to our next part to take values into PHP and then save them in database. So first, for that, we'll check the post request. If is post request and have the value submit, and we are taking email, and we'll get from the request and save it to the variable email. and the username post username, and then first name, and the last one is last name. I'm not using any validation here to make it simple for you guys. So if you want to uh, do a validations and all of other stuff, you can watch my advanced CRUD video in the playlist. So after that, we'll create a query to insert data into database. For that, we'll create a variable SQL, and we want to perform insert operation, insert into, and we want to insert in users table. After it, start the brackets, and we want to insert email, username, first name, and the last name finally. And to make it a little intent viewable, I'll jump to next line and put values here. Start the packs, and for string you have to put in single quotes, and for integers without quotes. So we have all strings, so we'll put user username, and the second first name, and the last name. Make the sequence same as I am following here. The email on first email, username on second username, first name, last name, and last name. So after that, we learn the query by using MySQL query function, and we'll put the con first, the connection we have made above, and then the query we want to run SQL, and save the response in a variable called result. And after that, we'll check the result if we got the result, and inside that we'll die insert user inserted. In other case, we'll just show the error as we shown in the connection. MySQL error, and pass that to con. So let's try to save this email allroundzone@gmail.com, allroundzone, allround and zone, and just okay. I have done a mistake here. I didn't change the type of username to text, so this will also be a text, and this will be a text, and we have to here put a name, submit. So let's back and refresh again and try again. Allround zone, allround zone, allround and zone, and press enter. So we forget to set here in action. We'll provide the name of our file users.php, and method is equal to post, and save it, and let's back. So allround zone, allround, allround and zone. So user inserted, and we can check here in users, our user is inserted here. So after that, we'll create a next file index.php to display all our inserted users in this file. So for that we'll use bootstrap table w3 school. So we are using this to for the sake of time saving. For now, copy this, go to your application and save it here. So our application name is PHP CRUD. Table name is users, and for this we'll use make anchor tag ref, and for now put it hash, and here add users, and we have hash the number id and email, username, first name and last name. Let's try to refresh it again. So our basic table is created. Let's make it a little better, and we also need actions. Let's clean it a little, clean it and leave it a single row here, and for here let's put a class btn dash primary. Let's refresh it again. So our basic table is created. We have to display id, email, username, first name, last name, and action. So, and for the last one, for now just create a table, just create a column and anchor tag with ref, and for now make it hash and set it edit, set classes on that button btn. I will use default for edit defaqlt, and for delete I'll use danger. Let's back. So our basic HTML table is ready. Now the next step is to get data from the database and display in our table. So for that, first of all go on top and include the connection dot php, include here connect.php, include connect.php here, and move down to the row created here and start php from here and close it here. So we'll run the query here, or SQL query. What we want to do here is select all from users. So after that we'll just run the query and save it in result as we do earlier in connection and insert case. MySQL query will provide the connection and the query SQL. So we'll check the result, what we got in result, In case of success, it will got here, and in case of any issue, it will dump and with MySQL error, and will provide con here. So in case of result, we'll check, we'll get all the data and display in our table. For that, we'll use while loop, because we have multiple rows to display, and row equal to MySQL. Use the function to get a single row from result, and start the loop. And after that, we'll get the ID, email, and our first name, last name, the data we have stored in database. So get from row. So we'll save the value of ID in a variable, and the value of email in email variable, the value of username in username variable. We can use same row to display, but to make it a little intent, to little clear to use, we are using variables. First name, and it's easier to understand. Last name, last name. So after that, we'll just echo, and we'll copy the row from here to here, and convert them to single quotes, hash, single quote. So that's it. So inside that, we'll just echo our ID, email address, email, username, first name, and last name. So after that, just go to your browser and refresh. So the user we have inserted, allroundzone, is displaying here. So let's try to create another user and set the URL here, user.php, and inside user.php, after inserted, we'll move it to headers, location, index.php. So in case of user inserted database, it will redirect to index.php page. So let's try to refresh it again. Insert user Ahmed Khan @gmail.com, Ahmed Khan, and save it. So you can see we have now 2 users. So after that, we will move to delete. For that, we have to create another file with the name of delete.php, and start with PHP tags, and it include our connection connect.php. So we have separated connect.php because on every page where we have to query from database we need to use this. So that's why in case of duplication, to make it a little simple, we separate it from all code. So after that, on your index page we need to redirect user in case of delete from here to delete.php, and after that here id equal to user.id. So let's refresh it. So you can see down below we have localhost delete.php, and then question mark id is equal to 1, id is equal to. So if we click here, it goes to delete.php. For delete we have to work here, check if is set, get request, we have id request. After that, inside that, get the id from the query from get request and save it to id variable. And after that we have to query sql, and we need to write a query delete from users table where id equal to $id. So what we are doing here, we are deleting a user where the id of the user row is equal to id, and we are getting id from our url. So after that, as we are doing in all our cases, we will set result and run mysql query. MySQL query, provide the con here first, and second SQL, and after that we'll check the result. In case of success we'll get here, in case of else we'll show any of the error we got. And for what we do here, MySQL error, and provide con here. And what we do here, we'll just die, and here user deleted. Let's try to delete a user. Go back. So let's try to delete a user. So our user 1 is deleted. Back to page, refresh it again. So our user is gone. So what we'll do in case of success, we will redirect you redirect it to same page, header, location, index.php. So let's try to create another user, test users at the rate gmail.com, test user, try to save it. Let's try to delete it. So you can see after deletion it's back to same page. So let's move to index and edit page, update work. For that we have to create a new file with the name of edit.php. we will use same code for we are used for user case, and just update the query in case of edit. So back to here and type here update users, and in case of submit, right, and we have to rename to update users. We have to rewrite this query. Update user table. Update users. Set email equals to single quote and email. After that, comma, username to equal to single quote username, comma, first name single quote first name, and the last case last name equal to last name. And after that we will put where, and we'll get id from the get request. Id equals to get id, and we will have put where id equals to id. So we don't use here single quotes because it's an integer. So let's run the query and save result into results. We have already there. So in case of update, first we will check user updated, afterwards we will then redirect. So we have only one user with Aman Khan, so let's try to edit. So we did not update the URL in index file, so let's try to update. Edit.php question mark id equals to id. Let's try again. So we are on edit php, so let's update edit work @gmail.com. It created a new user, but why created a new user? Check code again. We have any issue here? Index.php form. Okay, so we didn't update remove the action from here in our form. In edit case you have to remove this, and let's try to update. So we will update the Ahmed Khan to case. So Ahmed to Arsalan @gmail.com. Arslan Ahmed Khan, Arslan AHMAD, and let's try to save it. So user updated. Let's back to page and refresh it again. So you can see our two user with the two id is updated. So we have here an issue. The inserted already values we have in database are not displaying here. So let's try to get the values and display them. For that we have already id here. We'll use create a SQL query to get the specific user from database and display it. So for that select select all from user where id equal to id. So it will get a specific user we want to get from the database. Result equal to MySQL query. and we'll provide the con and the SQL query. So after that we'll check the result. So one thing to keep in mind, the context in this, uh, these these variables and the values are inside this if condition. The values are above here will use display down below, and these values only used in case when we submit the data to update into database. So these are totally separate and different values. So we'll check the result. If we have success, then we'll get the row value from using MySQL, fetch a single record for us from the result, and then we'll create same variables we are creating here, and instead of post we will use row. So in case of else, what we'll use, where we'll use same die and display the error. So let's try to update a user again, refresh it. We have issue here in line number 6. Line number 6, MySQL icon, SQL, ID, where ID, what's the issue here? Let's try to figure out. We have an error from MySQL version from users where ID is equal to 2. Select all from users where ID is equal to ID. I think it's fine. So we have here a spelling mistake. Let's try to save it and run it again. Okay, we didn't display the values down below here. For that, what we'll use just the value and PHP opening tag, closing tag, echo first name. No, it's not the first name, it's email. You can copy to get the copy with value and go to second place, and here we have username. Here we have first name, last name. Let's try to refresh again. So you can see we have now all the filled values: email, username, first name, last name. Let's try to update username. So I have updated here, updated. So it's still showing here message. We need to redirect it to, we have to redirect it to header, yeah, into index.php. Let's try to refresh again, continue. So it's back to here. Now you see our username Aslan Ahmed Khan, update. So good luck guys. If you have any curious question, feel free to comment below, subscribe the channel and like the video. What we have done in this video, we created a simple CRUD application using HTML forms, PHP and MySQL. So we have performed here create, update, delete and read operations. So I'll push the code on GitHub and provide the link in the description of this video. If you have any suggestions or queries, feel free to comment below, subscribe to the channel and like the video.